Welcome, everyone, to this conversation on healing relationships and personal growth. Today, we're diving into the delicate moment when our past influences our present actions, and how embracing that can transform us into more loving partners or parents.
That's such an intense subject, turning pain into growth. Can you share what sparked this journey?
Sure, it all started with a very raw experience. I was with my boyfriend in a store, and, well, I raised my voice.
Right.
He calmly said, "That's not okay." That moment hit me hard because it was the first time I recognized behavior in me that didn't align with the loving person I always aspired to be.
Wow, that must have been a real wake-up call. I mean, it's not every day we confront our own patterns so directly, right?
Exactly. It was like staring in the mirror and finally realizing, hey, wait a minute, this isn't me. And it became clear that I was unconsciously reliving the habits from my childhood. Raised voices, quick tempers, and the cycle of hurt. It really set off a cascade of self-awareness, almost like peeling back layers on a long-forgotten story.
And that inner dialogue, that nagging, what have I done afterward, must have been overwhelming. How did you start to navigate that storm of emotions?
Well, I began questioning everything. It was like, digging into my own past. I had to ask myself, where did this come from? How did these behaviors, this reactive anger, become part of me? I realized that I was, in essence, echoing my upbringing. Yet I also learned that recognizing this is just the first step to change. It was a powerful moment of self-reflection.
Yeah, that sounds both painful and liberating at the same time. It almost reminds me of the idea that our shadows can teach us as much as our light, right?
Absolutely. It's like, our darker moments aren't failures, but signposts pointing us toward growth. When I felt that wave of shame, it became clear that transformation was necessary. It wasn't about perfection, but about understanding the why behind our actions, reconnecting with our inner self, and learning to act with kindness.
I get that. But isn't it a bit paradoxical? We want to be loving, yet our past habits seem to pull us in the opposite direction. How do we reconcile that conflict?
That's a great question. Honestly, it requires us to be honest with ourselves about our origins. I discovered that these patterns were not intentional choices, but rather conditioned responses from a background where conflict was the norm. Once I accepted that, I could start unlearning them and instead cultivate self-awareness, compassion, and even self-forgiveness. It's like retraining your emotional responses.
So it's really about being curious about your reactions rather than immediately judging them?
Right, and it's also about healing the inner child, that part of us that learned to cope in a dysfunctional way. Instead of berating ourselves for old habits, we can learn to nurture and empower those inner voices to respond with love rather than fear.
I've heard that a lot. That inner child work can be revolutionary for transforming relationships. But isn't it sometimes hard to distinguish between what's truly us and what's just a habit from the past?
Absolutely, it can be challenging, but the process is very liberating once you start separating the two. For instance, when I apologize for my actions, it's not about self-condemnation, but about acknowledging that, in a moment of stress, I acted out of old patterns. This recognition then becomes the catalyst for change.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like giving yourself permission to make mistakes as long as you learn from them and don't repeat them.
Exactly. And there's a practical approach here. I developed a method that's about bringing awareness to these patterns and then gently shifting them. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress and compassion. Through mindfulness and self-reflection, you start building a bridge between your intentions and your actions.
Confession time. It sounds a little too idealistic sometimes. Is it really feasible for everyone to just shift these deeply ingrained patterns?
I hear you, and that's a fair challenge. It definitely requires courage, patience, and sometimes professional guidance. But the method I found, which I share in a free masterclass, breaks it down into manageable steps. It's not a magic cure, but a roadmap that guides you towards healthier behaviors.
And this masterclass, it sounds really inviting. How do people generally respond to it?
People report that it's like finally having a light in a dark room. They understand that healing isn't about erasing who you are, but about embracing every part of yourself and learning new ways to express love. It's transformational, almost like learning to live with your heart wide open, even when old wounds surface.
Right. And I imagine it resonates with anyone who's ever felt torn between who they want to be and who they've been conditioned to be.
Exactly. It's deeply relatable. It's like, a call to become the loving partner or parent you truly want to be, despite the baggage of the past. You know, the session brings together personal stories, practical strategies, and insight into how our relationships can be reshaped from the inside out. It's empowering.
I love that. And speaking of reshaping relationships, what are some of the key ingredients in this transformation process?
Well, there's self-awareness, of course. Then you have self-compassion, really treating yourself with the kindness you'd offer a dear friend. A significant part of the journey is also about self-empowerment, which means taking responsibility for your actions without wallowing in guilt. It's about learning and unlearning, slowly but surely,
Yeah.
breaking those patterns. Exactly.
That reminds me of a concept I've come across many times. Forgiving yourself isn't the same as excusing your actions. It's about growth. Would you agree?
Precisely. Forgiveness is an act of self-empathy. It lets you move away from patterned reactive responses and towards conscious, loving action. It's a tough process, but every little step counts. It's like rewiring your brain, bit by bit.
Interesting. I appreciate that nuance. That forgiving doesn't mean forgetting, but rather making a conscious effort to change. There's a strength in that, isn't there?
Absolutely, and it's this strength that I emphasize in my HeartShare circles too. They provide a warm, communal space where people can share their experiences without judgment and support each other on their healing journey. It's
Yeah.
about building community wisdom.
It sounds like a refreshingly supportive approach. But tell me, do you think we might sometimes be too hard on ourselves when reliving these patterns?
Definitely. And that's why, instead of ruminating on guilt, it's vital to embrace self-understanding. Every moment of failure is just another lesson. Focus on how to rewrite those responses for the next time. You know, it's like, you're not your past mistakes. You're the person determined to change them.
That's a powerful message. I'm curious, though, how do you keep yourself motivated through setbacks?
Motivation comes from small victories. When you notice even a slight shift in your reactions, it fuels your commitment. And honestly, realizing that each step, however minor, is moving you closer to genuine happiness keeps you going. It all adds up.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's amazing how a single, vulnerable moment can cascade into lifelong transformation. At times, though, I wonder if, in those very moments of self-doubt, we might actually blame our upbringing too much rather than take our full responsibility. What do you think?
That's a fair critique. While our background deeply influences us, at the end of the day, recognizing these roots is only the first step. The real challenge is in taking responsibility for our present actions. We must, balance understanding our past with actively choosing a better path. It's a dance between compassion for yourself and accountability.
I really appreciate that balanced perspective. It's neither a self-pity party nor a blame game. Instead, it's about moving forward, step by step, right?
Exactly right. And that's the invitation I'm extending, to join the free masterclass to learn these techniques. And if you're looking for more shared experience, attend the HeartShare Circles. It's a journey towards rediscovering warmth, understanding, and ultimately genuine happiness in our relationships.
That invitation sounds so genuine. For anyone listening who's ready to break free from old patterns, it seems like a transformative opportunity. Plus, how great is it to connect with others who are on a similar journey?
Absolutely. Life isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's about learning from them, unlearning what no longer serves us, and fostering daily habits rooted in genuine joy. Each step is a victory in building a heartfelt, compassionate connection with yourself and those you love.
Yes.
Indeed.
Well said. I think the key takeaway is that healing is an ongoing, intentional practice, one that really starts from within. Thanks for sharing these insights and your personal journey with us today.
Thank you. I hope our discussion today inspires listeners to embrace their stories, heal with compassion, and create the loving relationships they deserve.